Live.
Guess I should probably mute the stream then, huh?
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah, I might want to mute the stream. We have 3 minutes to pregame. Get your drinks out, ladies.
Wait, so it's on right now, or?
Yep.
I said live.
Oh, sweet. My bad.
I'm just hoping it works because I did have to change some of the settings.
Basic campfire. Looks good.
So let me know.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another weekly episode of The Hack Show. My name's Zier, everyone's favorite troll priest, along with my two other buddies, Annihilation, the whatever elf Death Knight. I don't even know what the hell you're supposed to be these days.
You do go on.
I do go on. And then we also have Hebro, the
Hey,
Archbishop. And first things first, what we need to talk about is some of the critiques that we received last week.
Oh boy.
Well, you see,
Nobody
you are my
consulted me
buddy.
about this.
Well, you see, we did listen to the viewers. See, after the show, there was a flurry of criticism threads that pretty much talked about the things that we should have done better, the things that we shouldn't do, and how much people hate the word up.
Exactly, and we really wanted to show our dedication to the community and the fact that we do indeed listen to the feedback that we're given. As such, we decided that the first thing that we should implement was something to look at, because that was a big thing with you guys, the fact that you were not happy with a black screen. As such, we decided, well, here we go. And actually, I think it was Zier. Zier, you were the one that actually came up with it, weren't you?
I was. I realized that out of all the threads that were gaining popularity, it was Vesker's that was actually gaining the most traction. And he had implemented the idea of a popularity contest to see about who would be our unofficial host for the week's episode. You see, unfortunately, Vesker decided not to pay attention to who was voting, so we took it upon ourselves to actually tabulate the final results, and it was pretty conclusive that Basic Campfire won out.
Absolutely.
Over everybody else. So here you go, guys. We have Basic Campfire here, and he's going to be joining in occasionally. And ultimately, he'll just be going in with your fiery glow and just enjoy the illuminating light that he is offering.
He's
Exactly.
just here to help you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. He's a very warm and loving individual. Basic Campfire will be a permanent, I guess you could say, co-host on the show. And will be interjecting his various witty commentary, all exceptionally intelligent and with hefty amounts of what's the word I'm looking for? Hefty amounts of intelligence and wit behind his comments.
I'm pretty bright, yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Basic Campfire. God damn it.
You weren't supposed to talk yet. In any case, welcome to the show. We are very, very happy to have you all listening. What we're going to do today, the topic is going to be World PvP items.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from talisman to shell to other buffs like island buffs or even potions and that kind of thing. Engineering items, another great topic. And we thought that of all the people who would be a good commentary on these items, it was going to be the how is it put? The ultimate griefer ganker, the original griefer ganker himself,
Yeah.
Heltor. Heltor, go ahead and say hi. Welcome to
Hi,
the show.
guys.
Welcome,
Happy to be
Heltor.
here. Oh, thanks.
He's so fucking hot.
Shut up. Basic
up.
Campfire. In any case, we have Heltor. He is not nearly as threatening as one might think on the forums. He's actually a pretty chill dude, and so he's going to also be providing some feedback as to these items. I guess for the first, there's one item that comes to everybody's mind, which is the Cursed Talisman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty obvious that the people, the majority of us, myself, Heltor, and Zier are all not in favor of it for various reasons. But let's actually kind of get a little bit more in depth in on it. So let's go ahead and open up with our guest, Heltor. Can you kind of give us your opinions, your experiences, and why you think that the Cursed Talisman is either a good or poor addition to not only the game, but the server and the community in general?
Well, I mean, I'm obviously not for it. I think it's a stupid item. I mean, the short version is that I think it's a lot better to just die. I mean, it's a lot healthier for a world PvP environment, for the community in general, to just die rather than talisman out, I guess. It's kind of a complicated thing, though, because the premises of all these arguments boils down to the nature of escape. And if you tolerate something like talisman, do you tolerate something like feign death, potion of deep home, or shadow meld bird form from a druid, or something as old as bubble hearth?
Well, I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean by healthy?
Well, why do people talisman out, right? It's all pride. It's an ego thing.
So you mean
Right.
healthy as in keeping the egos down and people more level-headed, not so
Yeah,
prone to...
it's more fun it's more fun in general when people really don't care that much about dying.
I don't know. One
Why
weird
should
thing
you
is you shouldn't care, but what I don't fully understand is that this particular item is available in the 85 level zone in Jade Forest.
Yes.
So why the hell is it all the way at the very beginning of Mists? It kind of gives you the impression it's meant to be used while you're leveling in the Jade Forest and then quickly forgotten about because it's all the way at the beginning of the starting zone, isn't it?
I don't think it was necessarily meant to be used, man. I think it was a brain fart of Blizzard. I don't think they put a lot of thought or consideration into it when they were making the item. And I don't think it's really a big problem on other servers either. I've never heard of any other... Well, there isn't a lot of world PvP servers, I guess, but I've never heard of other servers complaining about it. It's because we have big egos on Emerald Dream, so they look for things to exploit like that.
Though, okay, so one big question that I would have is, people like Return, who strongly advocates against the use of banishing and using the Cursed Talisman, frequently is known for, if he's getting overwhelmed, feign death and potion of deep home. So
Yeah, what a hypocrite.
what? So you don't see a difference between the two? I guess.
I hope you don't burn any bridges here, Helter. I'm a campfire.
Well, good thing he's not in the call or anything.
Yeah, I know.
Don't tell him I'm talking shit about him.
But so I guess the question is, do you see a difference?
Compose yourself.
Do you see a difference between the two?
I mean, I guess I do, but the question is, where do you draw the line? I mean, I've seen the nature of escape from World PvP evolve since vanilla. I mean, the original shameful thing to do is bubble hearth out, and then after that, the thing that everybody bitched about was, like I said, shadow meld bird form. Like Predatoria was the master of that shit.
I wouldn't even consider bubble hearthing in the same level as using the trinket because there was always a way to get around it. That was, having a pocket freeze nearby to dispel it and interrupting it.
Yes,
And on top of that, it was
sure.
only paladins who could pull that nonsense.
Right, but and again, it's only druids who could pull the night elf druids who could pull the shadow meld bird form. But it's just the premises of escape as far as where do we draw the line. I mean, I'm very anti-talisman. I think it's a stupid thing.
Well, that's an interesting idea because I think somebody on the forums mentioned something about where do you draw the line. Because people use the racket boots to escape too, but there's not really much of an outcry against the use of that item. Is it because the talisman is just too safe?
Yeah, I think so.
Or because the racket boots just have that chance to fail?
Well, it's not even the chance of failure. You can sit there and you can blind somebody, or you can knock them, daze them, and they can't really get away. And on top of that, just anybody has access to actually being able to sink the time in and getting them and then installing them. So I just...
No, that is true. You need the engineering to have the racket boots for one.
I feel like straight up abuse is what it boils down to.
That wasn't even a fire joke.
It was, because I boil things because I'm on fire.
Very
Who the
nice.
fuck invited me? This is a terrible idea.
This is what the viewers demanded.
Wait, so, ladies and gentlemen, we give you what you want.
This is why this is why democracy is dead. You shouldn't actually listen to what the mob wants, because the mob wants a goddamn retarded flaming fire.
So
Can't argue with that.
It's true. It is.
You can't argue with
It is a flaming campfire.
I mean, it's almost as gay as that. What is it? The falling flame trinket that makes you go splat
Okay,
when
so-
you get out of it.
But here's a big thing with the falling flame. There are three major differences that I feel that are between the difference between falling flame and cursed talisman. And by the way, just to kind of clear it up, I have used it before. I have actually used cursed talisman,
Me too.
and
Pussy.
yeah, I know that when I did it, it was to get out of Zergs. And that, honestly, after using it, and after hearing a lot of the critiques about it, I did feel like a hypocrite for doing it. So I've gone out of my way to not go get the item anymore. And even if I get Zerged or overwhelmed, just taking the death. But in any case, going back to the comparison between the two, Falling Flame, one, it's like a 2% drop chance from a mob that spawns every hour. That's one. Two, it does have a limit on charges, 50. 3,
Only 50?
Only 50, yeah.
only 50, but 3, it's kind of a reckless item. You can very easily get yourself killed with it. And also, not to mention, there's the fact that it's an hour cooldown. So once you use it, that's it. You're done for an hour.
Love the falling flame.
Nice.
Makes me want to rub my sticks together.
Oh, God.
God.
Ugh.
So I guess I can tolerate it a lot more. But ultimately, by the way, someone was asking about what the potion V-Palm is. It is a potion that you can only use when you're out of combat, and when you use it, it automatically, instantly, with no cast time, ports you to D-Palm out of combat. So what you can do is classes that have some sort of combat drop, i.e. Night Elves with Shadow Meld, Priests with Spectral Guise, Feign Death, that kind of thing, you can use the class ability and then instantly, boom, portal to Deep Home and get out. People like Return have been known for using that sort of item. So, I guess ultimately, really what it comes down to is, where do you draw the line? And I guess, from my own personal opinion, that line really is with Talisman. Simply because of its ease to get, the fact that there's no way to gib it, except with a magic banana that also is an hour cooldown, and you can use 3 charges of it, and its availability.
Wait, what's
I think so too.
what's this magic banana I keep hearing about?
The magic banana is a drop from Bonobos, which is one of the rares in Pandaland.
He's over by the woods north of
Yeah. Actually,
valleys.
right by,
Yeah.
right, exactly, right by the Alliance vendors.
Oh yeah.
The way it works is when you throw the magic banana, it does have a travel time. When it hits something, if you angle it correctly, if you angle the reticle correctly, it will interrupt any cast, whether that cast is being done under the auspice of an immunity or not. So, in other words, if your paladin is bubbled and you throw the banana, it'll still interrupt. If you're banished and you're hearthing, the banana will interrupt by making you slip and fall and thus interrupting the cast time. So it's a really neat item. The only problem is there's an hour cooldown on it.
It sounds like
I'm
kind of a
still
skull
trying
shot.
Who the fuck figured out? You know what? The one thing is
Yeah, I know,
that
man.
Banish Earth is going to be some goddamn banana from a fucking monkey boss.
I don't know where I was. I was somewhere and somebody was like, "Oh my god, he's banishing. Anyone have a banana?" And I'm just sitting here like, "What the fuck is this game? Like, what am I hearing? Like, what does this come to?"
It sounds like
banana counters the banish. Okay.
I love
feel
that
like
stuff.
at times this game has turned into a goddamn preschool TV show. All we need now are a couple of Teletubbies jumping across the screen, letting us know that we don't have enough points to properly capture them with our WoW pets. And I feel like at that point I can honestly quit the game with no regrets.
To be
That's hot.
to be fair, Zir, honestly, I have children, and you seem to know more about Teletubbies than I do.
Ooh.
So wait, like,
And bronies, don't forget that.
And bronies.
how the
and
hell do I know
furries.
about-
And furries.
Wait a minute, how the fuck are you guys rattling these things off, and yet somehow I'm the bad guy?
Hey, we're not judging you. We didn't say bad guy. We're just.
Moving on to some other...
I don't know. Like, hold on, we gotta talk about this for a second. I feel like knowing about Teletubbies puts me at like a level much higher than you could claim like a brony could be somewhere in the dirt basement cubby that you're keeping your children because you haven't let them watch VPV. I just think I
Whoa.
come out on top.
Rainbow Bright is hot.
Anyway.
Whose idea was basic campfire?
Zier's.
It was
I think it was Zier.
Zier.
No, wait, Helter was the
Jeez,
first actually nominated.
someone's a little tender.
I mean, it seemed about as good as the rest of the candidates. I don't know.
I guess so.
Yeah, we could have done worse.
You start a fire with tinder.
Shut the fuck up, basic campfire.
Seriously.
Somebody keep that campfire in line.
I know, God. Someone stoke his flames.
So, okay,
We're
anyways,
doing it.
back to the discussion. It seems like because Hebrew, you mentioned the three things. It seems to be when considering an item for WPvP, the biggest things are availability, cooldown, and charges.
Mhm.
And especially directly comparing the talisman to the falling, what was it, the falling flame? They seem like kind of polar opposites because they both have vastly different cooldowns, vastly different charges, and they're both, one's incredibly common, the other one's incredibly rare.
Not to mention, one also has an inherent drawback to where it can actually bite you in the ass.
Right, that too.
The Falling Flame, when you activate it, it actually goes at like 3 times mount speed. So you fly through the air, the direction that you are pointing, fast. And if it hurtles you into the side of the mountain, you're more or less fucked. Which is actually kind of fun in and of itself. In any case, so we've already established that I do think there's a lot of different items that we would like to cover. Talisman is always going to be a controversial item. I certainly think that it should be taken out. And, but ultimately, we do have a lot of ground to cover in terms of different items. We can definitely return to the Cursed Talisman. Anna, why don't you pick the next item that you would like to discuss?
I was actually really interested in the engineering items. Somebody mentioned the, I guess, quote-unquote fairness of Goblin Glider or the Rocket Boots. Because what I thought initially was, I'm an engineer myself, but I wasn't in the start of Pandaria. I dropped mining, which was a good move on my part, admittedly, but I went engineering solely because I was seeing so many people out there using the Goblin Glider and the Rocket Boots, and it made me think, like, wow, I'm in a real disadvantage if I don't have this profession.
Especially
even
on ED.
Yeah, like just watching people. I remember on Isle when it first came out, watching people jump off the cliffs and chase each other on gliders. I was like, wow, that's a whole like other skill ceiling that I can't reach just because of my professions itself. So I really feel like just I don't know. I feel like engineering is too good because of what it offers, and it kind of feels like it's a mandatory profession if you want to take World PvP seriously right now. And I don't think that's going to get any better.
Not necessarily, because while I agree it is exceptionally beneficial to have, and it's wonderful and a lot of fun, and definitely has a lot of perks, to give you an idea, up until about a month ago, on Hebrew, which I World PvP all the time, I did not have Engie. I was tailoring and chanting. Though I will say that there are certain situations that put me at a little bit better of an advantage in World PvP than other classes, based on the fact that I have Levitate. But, so in other words, if I do get knocked, I don't have to rely on Goblin Glider.
Well, yeah, that's the point, is that priests already have an amazing toolkit with them, but for classes that don't, like DK, that can't, slow my fall or anything, I need that glider to even compete on the same level.
You could just play a non-terrible class like Death Knight and, just
Oh,
not have
I've tried.
Well, we all know that, DK is obviously an exceptionally complicated class with much depth and skill involved. It's not like you just throw out your pets and mash buttons. But you do...
Hey, actually, Anna,
nobody here knows about that.
So what is your rotation again? So you roll your nose across the keyboard from a left or right position, or is it more like a pecking?
It's not his nose. I'm the only one with a big enough nose to do that.
Burn.
God damn it, shut the fuck up, Basic Campfire.
Seer, this was a terrible idea.
You can't...
I blame Besker for this. He was the one who made that goddamn thread, and I don't know, I got some weird little pang of sympathy, thinking, maybe he might be right. Maybe the clock has managed to cross by, the broken clock has made itself to be right. even though it's dead wrong most of the time. I don't know. I can't judge.
Do you guys know the difference between Zero and a fire truck? A fire truck can only fit 8 guys inside of it.
God fucking damn it. See, this is,
You're laughing way too hard, Hebrew.
yeah.
Oh no, I like that one.
Yeah, I'm sure you did like that. How often do you think about fire trucks and people fitting inside them?
Oh, jeez.
Engineering is
This is
great for
inappropriate.
rogues and hunters specifically.
Yeah, it is. Though,
It's not essential, but it's really fun. I mean, look at the videos that me and Return make. You can do some pretty amazing stuff with mind control and glider and things like that.
so the question really comes down to, is it engineering that you think is broken, or do you think it's Goblin Glider specific that actually you think is broken?
I don't think it's broken at all. I don't think the profession or the glider is broken. I think it's perfectly reasonable. I mean, it's not the most ideal profession for PvP. World PvP for sure, but not so much rated PvP. You're kind of making a sacrifice if you do engineering. You're doing it specifically for World PvP, because if you do rated PvP professions, you just want raw stats, or like the tailoring enchant.
Not necessarily, because I know that there are, like, mages, for instance, wanted to go NG tailoring.
For the glove power up,
Yeah.
I still think it's not ideal compared to just raw stats or the cloak proc.
What about in Warlords when raw stats will cease to exist for professions?
Oh, I don't know anything about that. Is there going to be PvP beneficial professions still, or is it just all?
They've talked about homogenizing the professions so that there isn't any stats, so you won't have ring enchants from enchanting, and you won't have plus stats
that
from
sucks.
tailoring. So
That's
how does
dumb.
engineering stack up against the other professions then?
It'll probably all be the same at that point. You'll still have your World PvP toys.
Though I think that, honestly, the WOD discussion is definitely for the next show. So, that is one thing that...
Dude, you have no idea how excited I am about the fact that we're moving online.
Yeah, well, but... Siri, you went
Where's
really
your guy?
quiet. Yeah, you got really quiet, dude.
Back here.
Much better.
Swallow the mic like you know how to. Come on, buddy.
Oh.
Incoming basic campfire joke in 3, 2...
I've got nothing, Hebrew. I'm no match for you. Matches start fires.
Walk into that one.
Playing with my mic sensitivity, so I don't know. I just feel ultimately we really, I would just love to see people in all these random ass guilds, Warzone Battalion, whatever the fuck order, and Naki, whatever Polish Kielbasa guild that they're in right now. They just don't use their goddamn flying mounts. It would just be nice to see them go around. Maybe they have fucking ground turtles, or they walk. It would be fantastic.
Well, you might as well try to move mountains, because you just can't expect people to not use flying mounts. They're too ingrained into the game now.
What are you talking about? These people could easily follow directions. I mean, if Himanshu can get, 10, 20 healers to follow him around and give him a point, I'm sure most of the guild rosters out there could follow, Sledge or, I don't know, whoever else is in charge of that monstrosity.
Until one person breaks the rule, and then everyone gets butt mad, and then it all snowballs into the same fucking effect, and everyone's like, well, if he's using the flying mount, then I guess I'm going to too, and then the whole thing falls apart.
All it takes is one person.
Yeah, it's not. It's completely impossible, Zero. It's not going to be able to happen. There's no way to...
I'm just going to start my own Dare campaign. It'll be completely... It won't work. I will... I don't know, I'll try to push this idea that... Yeah, I know it won't work, but at least I'll feel good about it. I can donate money towards, teaching kids not to use flying mounts fund. I mean, fuck. I mean, back in the... I feel like I'm getting in my rocking chair, banging my cane against my knee, but back in BC, Wrath and all that, if you were out in the old world and you managed to get killed, and somebody like Heltor was having a pissy day, you weren't leaving that spot. Now you can sit there and take a battle
World
round.
PvP now compared to when we were leveling in vanilla is so much more tame.
Yeah.
I mean, they have graveyard. I don't understand what the fear of death is at this point in the game, because there's graveyards like every 2 feet. I mean, you can just res and fly away in most cases. I don't understand why there's so much ego. Just die. It makes so much more. Even if you're trying to avoid a Zerg, I mean, what's the point? Everybody gets Zerg, right? It's part of Emerald Dream.
I mean, everybody does get Zerg, but right now there is no excuse to get camped. There are so many ways to get away.
Yeah.
If you get camped, it's your own fucking fault at this point.
That was the whole reason why.
Especially if you're a rogue.
Yeah. I mean, everybody can get away. Like, you can even run to a different graveyard. There's a million and one ways to get away. So just die. I don't understand Talisman. Just die. So that was the whole reason why I ganked like crazy in vanilla, is just because I got harassed. And back then, you actually could get corpse camps and graveyard camps. And graveyards were far away, too. You would run 5 minutes just to see the same asshole sitting there and kill you again.
And I heard stories of the guild mushheads getting camped for 3 days straight because they somehow pissed off.
Oh yeah, your shit was savage. On Emerald Dream and Vanilla, it was savage. There was no instance well, not PvP. There's no instance. You could just queue for a dungeon or battlegrounds back then. Either you actually had to run places. Yeah, it was brutal.
I kind of missed that.
Yeah. I don't know.
good.
I personally don't miss the 3-day long ADs because hey, I just.
I do. I think it was fun.
I miss it purely from a gameplay and an immersion perspective, because it's like, oh man, I'm playing a game. I can run. Now I just push a button and I'm in a dungeon. Like, that's not fun. Sure, running to a dungeon was a pain in the ass, but it made me feel like I was.
It made you get out into the world, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it made me be a participant in this community. Now I don't.
It also made you accountable to everybody else in the goddamn server. If you turned out to be a jackwad during a heroic run, you were not going to progress. And it was that simple.
That too. We used to have actually blacklists for ninja looters because you couldn't just cross over to the realm or get another random group of people who didn't know that you were a fucking thief.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. You remember dishonorable kills?
I wasn't around for that. I'm not that much of a bush.
Yeah, they would set your high warlord grind back like 2 weeks if you killed one. So people don't even know what civilians are now. Certain NPCs are marked as civilians, and it would honor. I don't know how to explain it. Honor was a grind. It wasn't a point grind. There were different. It was title based, right? But there were different levels to it. Like you had to.
I think there were
to get so much
thresholds.
honor, and then you would advance to the next. Yeah, exactly. Thresholds.
Yeah.
You would advance to the next rank, and if you got one dishonorable kill, it would set you back like 2 weeks. That was me who would do that. If you were with anybody in the raid who got a dishonorable kill, it would set you back like 2 weeks in your grind.
They didn't last very long. They knew that was a bad idea, though.
I think they changed it at the end of vanilla.
Yeah, too many people were bitching and moaning about that, and on top of that, they also wanted to take care of the fact that people were straight up botting or getting other people to play their accounts in order to hit High Warlord or whatever the alliance equivalent.
There were bots back then, really?
I think there were bots, weren't there? I definitely know people were playing each other's accounts.
It was not. There wasn't as much bots. I mean, it wasn't as widespread, but I believe it did exist. But it's definitely an interesting thought. So we've been talking a lot about items and how items translate and change the shape of PvP, but now it's kind of we can actually look at flying mounts, and we can look at the ability to instant queue from an instance. The fact that even to go to a battleground, you can do it anywhere in the world instead of having to visit the battle masters. So there's definitely another facet of it. So I guess my question to my fellow hosts and guest would be, which did you prefer? Do you prefer having to get out in the world, and even on the subject of graveyards, did you prefer the fact that graveyards were more spaced apart and that you could be camped, or do you think that it actually lends itself more to the community in the situation it is now, where it's less cutthroat?
Instant gratification is dull.
Yeah,
and it makes people lose their interest.
I dislike the idea that I could sit here, hang out, and get naked next to Garage, and just sit here and just queue for all of my shit, and I don't have to worry about Alliance coming after me. Like, even right now, I'm literally hanging out right next to Garage, and I have no fear in the world.
No fear.
Really? Where are you? I'm gonna come spit on you.
I'm sure you will.
Hey, Heaves, I got like 9 people bitching at me right now, so I'm gonna go RBG. But I may be back before you guys are done.
Hey, not a problem, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
All right. Yeah, no problem. I see you guys later.
See ya.
See you, dude.
Peace.
But anyway, my point stands. The fact that you can sit there and you can do literally whatever the fuck you want. And it doesn't even, you don't have to feel unsafe. I mean, why? There is no need to leave the town. I could go hang out next to the auction house if I wanted to and still raid.
Yeah, you can
Fuck, I can raid. I don't even have to do heroics anymore. I could just go jump straight into the raids and get my charity gear. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you can do the entire game from one spot.
It definitely has. Yeah, there's a lot of people that haven't even explored MOP. Like, there are areas they played since MOP released, and there are lots of areas that I didn't know existed, or even full zones that, I remember I was talking to someone the other day who has, I think they said that they'd been to Karasarang Wilds once.
Wow.
I'm willing to bet most of the people in the chat channel right now have absolutely no idea where the fuck the Heart of Fear is, and that's technically this goddamn expansion. They had no idea where it is.
Do you guys remember Molten Front? The place was amazing.
Was it hot?
You would fucking
Don't-
like a goddamn
don't-
piece of shit.
Don't encourage him.
Don't even play me.
Don't
Why the fuck
encourage
would I play you? The last time I played you, I ended up wanting to cut my own wrist over the fact that this goddamn mobs would respawn after a fucking hour.
Oh,
It was not
man.
fun. But then,
Yeah, it was not fun.
Well, let's...
Terrible. No, don't even fucking... No, I'm pissed now. God damn it.
about Mon
Yeah,
Front
sitting
What a
there.
hothead. Jesus.
or Core.
My name is Zir, and I'm so angsty.
No, not angsty. Angry. If you actually paid attention in goddamn school, you'd realize it's different spelling.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you had
Maybe
actually...
if you watched some of that educational
Ooh.
programming you were laughing at me about earlier, you'd actually
What?
know the difference.
To be fair, if you had actually
Teletubbies is
paid
not educational.
if you had actually paid attention in school, then you would have realized that, oh, maybe being a writer is actually a bad idea, and I should actually find a real profession that makes money.
Who the fuck said I was a writer? Maybe you gotta get their ear checked with that goddamn piece of WoW gold.
I'm sorry, Zir, journalist.
I never even said I was a journalist. Fuck you. You're making shit up.
There are a ton of other items that we actually haven't discussed. Things like Turtle Shell. What do you think about Turtle Shell? Do you think that Turtle Shell has impacted World PvP and to a positive or negative degree?
I
love
want to see
it.
a turtle shell with a shortened cooldown, because there is... I mean, the fact that people are going to sit there and zerg you and then hover on top of you on their flying mount, I would love to see that thing with like 100-yard range. I would
like to
rather...
Go ahead.
I mean, ultimately, I want to see this thing... Like, everybody gets a goddamn turtle shell. Like, the moment you hit level cap, you get a turtle shell.
I want to see it do
And-
instant cast.
Instant cast, 100-yard range.
Yeah,
it could
increase the
even be
range.
sky cap range, just to get you the fuck down. And I would also love to hear the collective screams of anybody in one of those Zerg guilds realize that they have to actually, come in on a proper ground mount, or having, I don't know, the fact that they'll walk in.
Mhm.
Maybe they actually have to know about the goddamn terrain instead of flying over it. Have to worry about aggroing monsters. Fuck.
Well, that's interesting because we have the talisman that's like a super defensive item, but how cool would it be if we had an item that was super offensive?
It would be
a
amazing.
100-yard range, instant cast, 30-second cooldown turtle shell. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and just the fact that everybody has it, so even not exactly a level 1, but somebody within the zone could be like, oh hey, you're hovering on top of me, you're trying to anchor for your entire ranger to show up. No, fuck you, I'm gonna knock you down.
It would definitely be interesting. I do
It'd
think
be
that...
interesting.
I do...
thought of it.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm already done. Keep going.
I do think that the turtle shell is actually it's made people nervous. Like people don't just come up and just like fly in front of you anymore. There's actually I think that's a big part of what I think that's a big... Heltor touched on it, and every single thread kind of comes down to if there's a fear, if there's some sort of anxiety that comes along with the World PvP, it ultimately makes it more fun. If there's a fear of dying, if there are repercussions, if, oh shit, maybe I can't fly so close to this person, or my ass might get shelled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be... I think that makes it more fun. It gives it more excitement, because all of a sudden, oh shit, I can die, I can get my ass camped, all these things can happen. So that is definitely one item I think that has really helped, and I think that it probably would be... I think maybe 10-minute cooldown, double the range, I think would be a really, really good idea to go with the turtle shell, and I really do hope they keep it.
Yeah.
One thing that we've talked about here, we've talked about a bunch of special items, and we could go on and on about that. Special items from, like the Sailan War Banner, dropping combat, and so on and so forth. But one thing that we haven't talked about is how do you feel about potions? How do you feel about flasks? I remember back in BC, one of the biggest taboos was to, heaven fucking forbid, you should use a health stone or healing potion in a duel. That shit just was not kosher.
Yeah, I
Now,
remember
Who the fuck cares about a duel?
now no one gives a fuck. So, what do
You're
you
right,
guys...
people shouldn't give a fuck. It's a duel. It doesn't matter.
Well, even in World PvP, in any sort of PvP, what do you guys feel about things like flasks, about potions, especially considering some of these potions, like, for instance, you pop one fucking agi potion, the temporary agi boost, for a rogue in the middle of a dance, and they're doing double the damage.
It's like 5k agility, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a shit ton. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I personally don't see a problem with it because in duels, get fucked. It's a goddamn duel. It's not like getting any points out of it. And the only people who give a fuck about duels are people who use that fucking trinket, so...
What about World PvP, though?
World PvP, whatever, use them, it's fine.
So then,
I think-
why is that okay, but not Banish Trinket?
Because Banished Trinket stops PvP.
Well, no, it's because of the cooldown. I think that's something they agreed on, is that, remember, the 3 qualities of what makes an item tolerable is that potions have a long enough cooldown where you can't spam and abuse them. You pop a potion, you can't use another one for like, what, 5 minutes?
Usually it's until combat's over.
Yeah, see? So like, it's like everybody gets just one, better use it when you need it. Don't waste it. I mean, it's kind of unfair in a way that you have to buy them or make them yourself if you're an alchemist, but they're cheap. They're dirt cheap. And everybody's got space in their inventory for a potion. Like, come on.
God, but even then, I just don't see the fuck. It's completely different. I mean, trinkets completely destroy PvP by preventing PvP from happening. It even stops it in the middle of it. So it's a completely unfair comparison.
Okay, that's fair. Moving off onto a little bit of a segue, what do you guys feel about the fact that about guilds kicking people for use of some of these items? I think the best and most hilarious example in recent memory is Happy Little Boy Supreme getting his ass chewed on and then knocked from knock for using the Banish Trinket.
I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about.
Supreme is a hunter on the island known for triple banishing and basically think of him as a even douchier version of Annoyed.
I can't imagine anybody being more annoying than Annoyed.
Try.
No, I can't. Like, there is a point my imagination actually fails me.
How long ago was this, Ebro?
Supreme getting kicked from knock? Last week.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, very, very recent. And then he started his own guild, which no one gives a shit about. But, I
don't know, I think it's dumb. Then again, I'm not that passionate about using Talisman. I think it's fine. Don't crucify me or anything. I think Talisman is fine. And I think it's kind of dumb to kick people out of your guild. Like, if they're being dicks about it, and it's just going on and on, I can kind of see it, maybe, because they're out representing your guild, and if they're just being tools out in the world, you don't really want that reputation. But, you're in a guild to have fun, and I don't think any guild should tell you, as a player, how to play your game. Even if it means just being a dick.
But what if that person is like Earth Beef, who, like, hey, let me toss around the N-word, or
Earth Beef doesn't
whatever.
trinket. That's completely different. Earth Beef just trolls and he goes potato. That's completely different.
But it's still the same thread, though. Like, he's having fun, right?
Well, maybe he's having fun, but I just feel like he's a non-issue. Whoever this other rando person was you're talking about, what, Supreme? Who gives a fuck? Because the moment he gets kicked, he's going to be replaced with 2 other people who know how to follow instructions, like hover in place over the air for 10 minutes while we wait for the rest of the raid, or...
But at the same time, why shouldn't guilds, like, enforce, like, hey, this item is douchey, so we're gonna kick people if you're gonna fucking use it like that?
Well, that's my perspective, is I think the trinket's harmless fun. But that's just my opinion.
If it's, I mean, harmless fun...
Like,
I guess...
what really happens, like, you miss out on one honor kill? Like, boo-hoo. Go to a BG, you can get, like, 15 of them.
It's still it's not about the honor kill, because no one does World PvP for honor. Like, that just doesn't happen. It's about the fact that it takes away from the excitement. It takes away from the uppiness, the jump, the feel, the rush. You know, like, people do get butthurt when they die or compete in World PvP. That's part of the charm. That's part of the excitement. You know, like, you fucking get in a 1v1 with somebody, and it's like, okay, so now my honor is on the fucking line. I have to beat this person, and then all of a sudden, banish. Oh, great. Because of this one item, now the whole thing is fucking reset and dicked. You know?
So, wait. So, you're saying you want to kill somebody because of the thrill and the excitement of killing somebody, the perverse pleasure you get off killing somebody, but then you get upset when they take that same pleasure out of denying you a kill in their own sick, twisted way.
Yes.
Because that's what I think, is when I pop Talisman, and I'm like, oh, you're going to jump me? You're going to beat me? Like, I'm invincible. Now I'm going to run away to some guards. What are you going to do about it?
I don't know. I feel like it's better if you're going to sit there and have to rely on cheap mechanics. Why not just use the things that you don't actively have to pop yourself, like guards or garage or things? Because I'm just sitting here right now hanging out, and Naki, I don't know what the fuck they call themselves. So whatever. They've now come in twice to try and kill me. Once they got me because I was AFK reading chat channel. But the one time I was actually paying attention, they all died because apparently PvE is hard. And, they got crushed.
You got Big
So,
Bro
anyway,
Gary looking after you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, like, why do you play the game if it's going to be that fucking safe? Like, why do you play on a PvP server? One thing that Gilleril, my best friend IRL, said to me, and it really rings true, is that when someone attacks you, ganks you, kills you on a World PvP server, they are giving you what you want. It is an honor. That's why we play on a fucking World PvP server. That is the only reason you play on a World PvP server. You play on a World PvP server to get attacked, to attack other people, and then to basically take this one item that basically gives the finger to the entire reason for having this server. Why have it? And then why don't we all just World PvP? Why aren't we all just like fucking PvE jerk-offs?
Well,
why not?
I feel like the fact that you just got pissy about it is a pretty good indication of why Blizzard might have put it in there.
See?
Hebrew are pretty delicious, even for me, who actually disagree with you.
That's why they do it, so that Hebrew can rage live on air in front of hundreds of people. Oh my god,
But a girl getting away from you. It's just funny to me. What do you call annoyed when a rocket boots malfunction?
I don't know.
Barbecue.
God damn, shut the fuck up.
I don't get it.
Barbecue, like a.
She's a girl and she's on fire, you fuck.
Whoa!
See, listen, guys, that's what happens when the goddamn basic campfire has to explain the fucking joke to you. It loses a little bit of the humor.
You should stick to the
Alright.
basic fire puns.
Well, he is a basic.
You're
campfire.
basic.
You're the basic campfire.
Guys, if you keep laughing at him, you're just gonna keep on doing these guys.
It was
Yeah.
your idea to
We're
bring
just
the
Roses are red, violets are red. I'm gonna set your fucking garden on fire.
Didn't even rhyme.
It wasn't it was a communal idea.
I really don't know whose idea it was to base basic campfire off fucking Reuven, but it was a bad idea.
Cat's out of
Wait,
the bag
what?
now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, whatever. Anyway, so, God, I still just don't understand why large. Actually, I just want to talk about large guilds for a while because fuck them. I just don't get the appeal of sitting in a ginormous group of people spamming your AOE abilities and thinking that you're somehow special because everybody doing their most lag-inducing ability makes them look good.
I feel like this is a show in itself.
It is a show on it itself. Like, good God, like, at least I know, actually I know the reason for it. When I sit there and use my AoE channeled ability, I at least know the server is going to be using it at some point. If I'm sitting here trying to use an instant cast spell, I have to hope that the server gods have smiled upon me and said, you know what? Yes, Zir, I'm going to cast that one spell you wanted to use, and it's going to go off 10 seconds from now. Not with one of those fun channeled spells with you and 10 of your best friends. Good God. I'm angry.
I think the only person in this channel is that pissed off right now is me.
Frankly, I honestly think that the only reason that you're upset really stems from the fact that you chose a really shitty profession, as a writer.
What the hell? Where did you get this writer thing from? Were you talking to Kitty again? Did she tell you things that are untrue?
I mean, well, okay, so of all the
Yes.
people here, you're the
You haven't
only
denied it
person
yet.
with a wire in your
Oh,
penis.
guys, don't fight.
I mean, he does have a wire in his penis.
I thought he was getting that removed.
I don't know whether or not it has or has not been removed. All I know is that some fucking horse chick shoved a wire down his, weenie, and now it's, well, now he's a wire weenie.
I thought we promised we weren't going to talk about Zier's weenie today.
Yeah, I thought we scared off some people's sensitive sensibilities with that shit.
See, if
I mean,
Heltor were
I-
if Heltor were here, we wouldn't be talking about anybody's weenie.
Dude, if Helter was here, I'd make my goddamn elephant balloon animal out of my dong. All right, it'd be great.
I would
See,
actually like to see that.
The problem is the only
Why
balloon
do you
animal
think-
you're gonna
why
fucking
do you
be able
wanna
to
see
make
them
is
dong? How long-
snake because there's a fucking goddamn rod shoved in it.
I thought it was a wire, now it's a
Dude.
rod.
Whatever, wire rod.
They're
What
completely
kind
different.
of lame-ass birthday parties did you have growing up, bro? I realize you're like really conservative in how much money you spend, but if some clown showed up to my birthday party, gave me a balloon animal, and said, "Hey, it's a snake," I'd get pissed off for the fact he didn't actually do anything.
I really
Thought
feel, I feel like if a clown showed up to your birthday when you were like 6, that you would start berating the clown and all the things that he's doing wrong about being a clown and be completely unsatisfied and then write an essay about it.
Dude, I would just question his life choices as to, so, why'd you fail out of art school? Was coffee not a proper profession for your for your background? Did you, like, spurt the milk? Did one too many soccer moms with a bob haircut get to you?
Are
Are you still currently working on your thesis? I don't know.
what was it that we used to describe Zier once? Aggressively unhappy?
That's exactly what it was. Aggressively unhappy. So miserable that he's gonna make the entire world miserable with him.
You take your snake air balloon and you like it.
I mean, the guy could have at least twisted it a couple of times and said, "Here you go, kid. This is a good time on a Friday night." And I probably would have been completely confused as a 5-year-old, but as an adult, I'd probably laugh about it and be a little concerned that I got hit on by some pedo clown.
We're really digging up some stuff here.
I know, seriously. The show went from fucking let's talk about Banished to let's talk about Zier's repressed memories of childhood molestation.
You said you wanted a break from the talisman, so this is the break. So Zier, tell us how you really feel.
I have a lot of feelings. Feelings that feel, and unfortunately basic campfires repressed most of them because I'm terrified of actually opening up and illuminating them with his soft, happy
Soft,
glow.
warm glow.
So I do
know.
have a legitimate question for you, Zier. If you were to use the Banished trinket, can you still hit people with a wire in your penis? Is that like separate from the Banish, or does that fall under the same jurisdiction?
I don't know, you need to hit me with your banana in order to find out.
Oh god.
Oh god. So I guess back to the topic at hand of
Bananas?
Oh,
You wanna
are we
talk more about bananas? My banana or your banana?
Do we have a topic here? I thought we were just going on.
ladies and gentlemen, Hacks Radio. Oh my god.
Actually, I want to talk about something. Okay, I don't care about shooting shots across the bow. I mean, so everyone probably listened to that one. A little bit PvP going on right now between players on the forums.
Mhm.
So the show last night, I'm a little curious, particularly about how Kitty was talking about how things were phenomenal and fantastic and great. Were you guys listening to the same show she was? Because I feel like I was... I don't know. It was just a little strange overall.
Ultimately, here's really what I think. I'm going to encourage Mort on at every facet to really keep improving with the show. And I'm glad to see him do it. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, it's no secret that the honest, that none of us like Ilskane, and that she's I don't know, a wart on the face of the server. But beyond that, I think that the sketch with Frinkles was a bold move. I thought it was very interesting, and even though I personally didn't enjoy it, I thought it was intelligent, and I thought it was a avenue that he could really, I think he can springboard from? I mean, the other things is, like, remember the three of us, so we can almost always find something to talk about. But Mort being by himself and having, well, one, a guest that proved himself, no offense, Vesker, to be, but I won't say that.
He wasn't a guest, he was a co-host.
He was a co-host. And Ilskane, who obviously not very good for intellectual conversation, Mort had to kind of bear the brunt of it, and I think that...
Hey man, this is Mort's fault for not talking about pom-poms and hair bobs and going to Starbucks and getting angry that your mocha frappuccino half-calf with low-fat sprinkles didn't get made properly. I mean, I just feel like at that point, people should have been fully aware of what they're getting into.
I feel like if a cow walks onto your stage, you might as well milk it while it's there.
Wow.
That's a metaphor.
Uh-huh, is it?
How long have you
Talk
been
to us
thinking...
about your repressed memories there, Sparky.
I thought we were talking about the other radio show. I think...
Who's the cow and who's milk?
Oh, that was reference to Ilskane.
I don't even want to answer that. Good lord.
I agree with Zir. Like she wasn't supposed to be there. If she was going to be there, then you might as well, play it up. But honestly, I was really interested in Mort's show. I didn't want to listen to it at first initially because I didn't want to be reactionary to it. Because I felt like that would happen anyways, seeing what he's doing and being like, oh, we gotta do this to compensate. But I really do wish him the best. I think competition is healthy. I think if we didn't have another show competing with us, we'd get kind of complacent, But I think it drives both of us to put on our best every new week.
Wow, I just had flashbacks in kindergarten where the teacher makes us all hold hands after popping some kid in the mouth on the recess playground. Good lord.
It doesn't have to be about holding hands. It can be aggressive competition.
How many times have you popped someone else off in the mouth? Or popped yourself off in someone's mouth? Or how does that work?
And everyone happened to sign in saying they're an adult, right? Because I can kind of keep going about this. So, what are you wearing right now? Because,
But,
kind of cute.
I think ultimately one of the really big things that we should walk away with is, I mean, granted, we all hate Ilskane, but...
I don't hate Ilskane. I just don't give a fuck. You guys hate her a lot more than...
She's annoying.
I do feel that, like, I actually completely encourage Mort to continue with his show, and I think that it's good for him.
Uh-oh.
One big question that we had from the forums was about Black Ash, and what how that impacts, and honestly, from a healer perspective, while Black Ash is exceptionally annoying, it really truly is, it isn't a huge bother considering it's confined to one zone. Like, if I don't want to fucking deal with Black Ash, I don't go to the goddamn Timeless Island. And even so, there are still intelligent ways of getting around Black Ash, like absorbs. Mm-hmm. Obviously, some healers don't have absorbs, so that, it's kind of dick for them. But at the same time, it's still confined to one zone. It's just kind of like Chi-Ji. It is... I don't know. Is it kind of a crush? Yeah, I guess. Like, for instance, the only way that not kills me is if they have, 15 million times my number, and they're all throwing Black Ash, but, that's okay. I understand that Bathroy is, a subpar Shadow Priest, and, everyone needs their own little crutch to be able to do what they can to beat the better players.
Wait a minute, does Black Ash stack? That's why they're all putting it on you at the same time?
No, it doesn't stack, but it still compounds. You Black Ash, it lasts for 9 seconds, and then you Black Ash again, and so on and so forth.
Well, I don't know. Personally, I just feel like these guys just can't really do anything on their own. They have to actually just bring in more people than possibly that's necessary. And goddamn, I'm getting attacked.
I thought we were talking about Black Ash Zergane.
Well,
now, Nox pissed.
Yeah, I honestly, whenever I think it's kind of a and don't get me wrong, I love Nock, good group of people, and they're actually exceptionally fun to fight against. I just think that every once in a while, Bathroy gets his panties shoved a little far up his ass crack, and sometimes you have to yank it out. Just reach up in there and just tug it a little bit, kind of get it out. Sometimes the way you do that is by confronting him on the forums. Sometimes the way you do it is by putting your proverbial penis in him in game. But one way or another just has to get done.
I mean, ultimately, I just feel like they can't really do anything on their own. They have to sit there and bring all their best friends in order to get a point across. But that's just me. Maybe I'm a little bitter. I don't know.
And then they can't. Oh, go
I
ahead.
think you guys kind of intimidate them.
Oh God, I don't intimidate anything. The only
Not
thing
you,
I,
Zier. I mean, the other people who are good at PvP.
well, hey man, I just like hit 1750 of the day.
I mean, it's
I
not.
feel
It's,
pretty good about myself.
oh, we're all very proud of you. I think it's not
I'm
a
sure you
secret
are.
that the Horde kind of has a monopoly on skilled world PvPers. And I feel like it's kind of an imbalance where, especially your guild, Hero, you have such a concentration of some of the best PvPers who know what they're doing in one spot, always like on call, always active, that you kind of have to have numbers to compensate because not everyone's going to be on the same skill level. And if you're just not as good, how else are you going to play the game? With numbers.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, when you're looking at our guild, yeah, we do have some great players, but at the same time, we have people like Zier.
Yeah, but he's a healer, so even then he can do something.
I mean, sort of. I mean, I guess that depends on the moment, and it depends on how the wire in his dong feels, and whether or not he's, off writing something about it.
Hey man, they don't call me the tripod for nothing. I can sit there in the back and just kind of hang out, just do my thing. I
Not
can
sure
spin
about-
around. I can spin and run really fast to make myself a fan. I can be your biggest fan,
At the same time, you can also be a lightning rod.
possibly.
So, well, also as a quick disclaimer, obviously we do enjoy taking some playful shots at people, but remember that this is a show, so I'm sure that we're all gonna see fucking, oh no, look at all the biased bullshit on the fucking forum, blah 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 blah. I mean, ultimately, remember
Good
it is
impression.
all in good fun.
Well, I thought we don't have to worry about that anymore because Nock managed to neuter itself by removing the one person who wasn't actually afraid to say anything, and now it's going to be some that, for all intents and purposes, right now Vesker doesn't really speak for anybody except for himself, and hopefully, he won't lose his edge as a result. But it's always been fun to watch him talk with some of the larger guilds.
Well, to be fair though, I mean, Vesker only talks on the forums. He doesn't. Once you get him behind the camera, he gets a little, stage frightened.
Well, unless there's oncoming traffic.
Performance anxiety. It happens to the best of us.
I don't know. I just feel like if there was actually some kind of oncoming traffic and I was paying attention to it, I really wouldn't worry about it because I'd be on the sidewalk. But that's just me. I don't know how they do things where he's from.
I mean, like it's just like when we're making the analogy about Vesker being a puppy. Puppies have specific needs. They have to have things to chew. They have to have things to chase, like hoochies, and they have to have an outlet for their attention.
Hoochies?
Yeah, hoochies.
Hoochie mamas?
Is
Right,
that an
exactly.
ethnic word or what is that? I never heard of that before.
I don't know. Hoochies, whores, skanks, whatever.
Bill Skanks?
How do you feel about the word honky?
That's
God.
actually that is a bit of history that we really shouldn't get into.
Yeah, let's
Actually, I want to bring up something. So, since we were talking about the Isle, we're talking about Black Ash. Does using a health crystal count as cheating? I personally don't, but
No.
there's some people who feel it does. When I say some people, I mean annoyed, who gets annoyed by other people using certain things on the Isle when she uses other things on the Isle, and I can't really figure out exactly what her argument is, because on one level, she's using every available item in the game and then talking about how, oh, hey, you can use it too, but if somebody else is using it before her, it suddenly becomes no longer kosher. I'm just trying to understand the mental gymnastics behind that.
While it's certainly obnoxious, don't get me wrong. It is one of the most frustrating things, beyond belief as a healer when you're chasing down somebody and they just ran to a fucking crystal and healed up. That's awesome, but it is still part of the island. Just like Black Ash, if you go to the island, it's what you should expect. Expect people with Chi-Chi. Expect, crazy fire monsters to come out and one-shot your ass out of the fucking blue. Expect things like them to use the crystals. That's part of using the environment. If you don't like the environment, don't go to said environment.
Why? I still am having a hard time understanding why people go to the goddamn Isle anyway. Like, it got old after the first month and a half. I mean, when people finally got their cloaks, they're really was no purpose to go out there outside of going with you and your 10 best friends in order to shit on one person you didn't like.
Loot.
I wouldn't even say that. It's just that that's where the highest concentration of the opposite faction is.
What are you talking about? All the cool people to kill right now are in Jade Forest or along the wall.
No, there
people
isn't.
who are AFK while they're trying to get their vendor items because some other guild decided to kite the vendor because it doesn't have a leash.
We were just talking about that earlier. Is about the reason you don't have a reason to go out in the world anymore. You don't have to go to your instance. You don't have to go to your raid. You don't have to go to the Battle Master DQ for a BG. People don't have a reason to go out in the world anymore. So inevitably, when people are like, "I want to build PvP. What should I do?" You have like two options: go to the vendors, or go to Timeless Isle.
Exactly. I mean, that's the main reason why I still go to the Timeless Island. It's not for Chi-Chi, it's not for anything else. It's for the fact that's where I can find people. One of the most frustrating things for me is, like, it used to be that I could fucking fly from Shrine straight over to the stairs, like, literally 30 seconds, and I could find people to gank, and that was fun.
You know, you could take a page out of Old Zier's playbook and just go to Jade Forest, find a lobby, camp them for a little bit, and then just wait for all the 90s to suddenly show up.
Yeah, that's a sliding scale. Once we start taking pages out of your book, then we have to start putting wires in our penis, and shit just goes downhill.
Dude, you were just complaining about Zergs. Now you're talking about instigating one on purpose?
Well, you don't have to instigate a Zerg on purpose. First off, Hero, you need to get my dick out of your mind. I realize I might be cute, might be wanting to do things with me that I'm not fully
Emphasis might be.
To be fair, I do have a magnet in my desk, and it keeps on trying to, like, snap towards your penis, so it's kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a hard time ignoring my dog.
I'm sure your
hard.
dog has a hard time.
Yeah. So, but
God.
You don't have to sit there and actually hang out until 15 of their best friends show up. You just got to kill them enough times until 1 or 2 people show up. And you can engage. And if you're better than those other people, then you might have to worry, and you might have to bring your own friend, or you can just skedaddle and laugh when they eventually send you a rage whisper over the fact that they couldn't kill you with them and their 10 best friends.
I'm not arguing that against that, but it's just there's less hotspots out in the world than there used to be. It used to be you could go, there were reliable places like a certain road through the Barrens. Like, oh, I'll probably find like 5 people out there. Now it's like I'll go out and where Kunlai Summit. Like, who's gonna be out there? Nobody's.
Well,
gonna
you
be
gotta
out there.
go hang out at the Dark Portal. That's where everybody has to go.
That's actually not a bad idea.
You can hang out there for a while, eventually get some people who don't know any better and will get gibbed while they try to fly through. You can try to grab people as they go through Mount Hyjal. That's another big area for people leveling. And then finally go to Jade Forest. Again, people are leveling, people will quickly forget that they're on a PvP server, and you just give them for as many times as you'd like until they realize that they have a chat box that they can use to call for help.
Yeah, but then you're just kind of like kicking the cat. Like, it's easy. You're gambling on somebody showing up. It doesn't really feel satisfying. Like, I don't like that we have to attack vendors to get action, but at least that's what some 90s are.
Why does it have to be about 90s? Why can't it be about lobbies?
I thought we were talking about fair fights.
Yeah, there's actually no fun, really. There's not that much fun in killing lobies.
I mean, Heltor loves it. Like, some people love ganking lobies. I
Dude,
like it
killing
sometimes.
lobies is hilarious. Good lord.
But it's not how you get better at the game.
Who says I want to get better at the game? I don't want to get better at the game. I want to make people mad. I want to drag people down in my pit of infinite angriness and bitterness and whatever else you guys happen to call it 10 minutes ago.
So you like Talisman then? Because that's what I was just arguing about with Hebrew, is why use Talisman?
Oh, no.
To rustle people's jimmies. If you just want to make people
PvP.
upset, then Talisman is like your best friend.
There is a very distinct difference between PvPing against a lobby and using Trinket, because Trinket stops all PvP from happening. The low V in PvP does not mean fair.
So you don't think that the end justifies the means?
I feel like we're on a PvP server, and lobbies need to have their comeuppance, and just remind them that, hey, this is a dangerous place.
By the way, just as a quick seg, I have actually glanced a couple times towards the chat tonight, and funny thing, like, I know, right? I've actually glanced like 3 times. Every single time I've glanced at the chance, VD says, "Alright, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go masturbate." Like, I don't know why, but
wow.
I guess it's just luck, but every single time I glance over there, oh, VD's going to masturbate again, and boy, it doesn't take him much time.
Dude's got some stamina.
Seriously, VD, mad props, man, you and I need to get together to talk about
and
this strategy.
talk about strategy about what tugging it.
Yeah,
Talking
exactly.
about my dong.
Not your dong, but I mean in general. I mean, it's
General dongs.
Getting feedback.
See, now-
On dongs.
See, this is what you did here, bro. Now Zero thinks the show is about his dong.
That's the only thing that's about his dong in his life.
Not my fault that you guys are my dong's #1 fan, and you set up the I Heart Dong fan club. So that's not my fault.
Oh man. So
It is your fault.
I
Maybe
guess-
you shouldn't have a fucking wire in it.
point.
Uh-huh.
When you
We
get that
have,
surgery.
We have actually gotten to it, so it's an hour into the show. Do you guys want to go ahead and do questions from the audience at this point? There's a couple that have been lined up.
Yeah, let's do that now.
Okay. We have a lot to go through, so I guess we can kind of try to rapid fire. Well, not rapid fire, but get through. I know that Sledge had one we're going to address. Autumn had one, which I guess we'll kind of get out of the... What? Go ahead.
Let's take our time. We don't rapid fire through them, but sometimes we just won't get to them all.
Okay.
Let's keep our pace.
First question, Legendary Cloak. From
What
Autumn.
about it?
What are our thoughts on it in terms of World PvP?
I don't really think it
It's-
makes that big of a difference, does it?
I mean, it only matters if you're fighting near a bunch of mobs, and you
It's a
just know
ton of
better
stats.
I mean, it's a ton of stats, but the only real thing you have to worry about is if it procs, and that only happens if you're stupid enough to fight next to a couple of mobs. And, that should just be, learn the position kind of thing. Blizzard's been training us since goddamn pre-BC to not stand on the volcano, pretend the mobs are the volcano.
Even
Go
so,
out of the way.
if it actually procs, I don't think it hurts you. Believe it or not. It's just the stats.
And I feel like the stats are trivial at this point, but whatever.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Anna?
But the cloak?
Yep.
Well, like I said, I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. It's just a stat increase. People can argue that stats... I don't know. I don't feel like stats adequately make up for skill. The gap is big enough. If you have a full set of PvE gear that's like heroic, siege, then yeah, that's a big difference. But if you just have like one cape, which even then, the cape takes a long time to grind out. Like, they've shortened it a bit with the buffs now, but it still takes a really long time. Even with the Valor requirement, it's 3 weeks minimum just to get to that stupid part. I don't know. I just don't think it's a big deal. It's a non-issue for me. Like, somebody has a cape, good on them.
Mm-hmm. I'd say that's fair. Yeah, I guess I'm not. It's not something that I've really put a lot of thought into myself. It's just one of those things you have or you don't.
I always wear mine when I go out. And
Yeah.
I don't think it makes a big difference. I still get my ass kicked.
Yeah, and also the metas are also pretty big. Next question was from Sledge, which, of course, is about himself.
Settle down, guy.
but-
You were just on the show last week. It's not all about you.
Seriously, Sledge, you need to calm down, okay? But his question is, what do we think about the Knock Order merger?
No,
Apparently, both guilds had a problem recruiting. I don't know why they had to merge. I mean, I always felt that Nock had a thing about trying to push RBGs or instance PvP, and Order was just Order. I mean, the only thing I can think of right now that actually is a negative is now people can say Order is dodging wargame requests from Project Mayhem. So I don't know
I
if
didn't
that's
even
something
think about those implications.
and I'm just saying the fact that that Nock has been dodging this for the better part of a month and a half. I don't know what to say. I mean, right now Sledge has a real big ball in his corner, and it has nothing to do with me. So he needs to do something. He needs to kick it back towards Heltor and say, "Yeah, let's wargame," or just admit that they would lose.
To be fair, this is the first time that Sledge has had balls of any sort of size in his, vicinity for quite some time. So I think that he
Yikes.
should relish it.
Yeah.
Nice burn. Nice.
Oh, I forgot Campfire was even here.
I know, right? Just pops out of here. Honestly, I wish them the best of luck. I enjoy a lot of the people in Knock. I enjoy a lot of the people in Order. And I think that the merger could be great. But at the same time, Struck just made a comment in chat that I agree with, is that mergers never really go well.
I just hope that one of Sledge's old flames doesn't ruin it.
Ooh.
I'm a campfire flames.
Honestly,
okay.
when it comes to old flames, I mean, the reality is, I think the flame that he's stuck on right now is Noxy, who has not really, stoked his fire as much as he would like. And let's be fair, any balls that may or may not have come from Sledge's vicinity definitely did come from Noxy. So,
well,
Yikes.
I personally see that this guild is going to fall apart. Let's say a month before WAD releases, because either Sledge will realize he wants nothing to do with Dodge War Games, or Nock will just come to realize that they can't play nice with others outside of their forum crew. So, we'll see.
I don't know.
I think that I don't know. I think that it's definitely going to. I think that there's hope for the merger. I really do. I mean, they definitely have different different things that they can play off of. You have Beth, who is the token Vesker of the guild. That's why I think Vesker was kicked, because they already had one in their guild. So why did they need a second? They have Bacon, who is very caught up with the Erping department, so they've got that covered. He takes lessons from Kittylicious. That's completely set.
Wait a minute, he Erps? Really? Who the fuck admits to Erping?
Kitty.
Well, not besides her, because she doesn't know any better, but really, there are guys who will admit to Erping?
Well, I mean, whatever.
No, it's not whatever. That's fucking creepy as all hell, dude.
But
I herb all the time. Increase your spirit by 5. Cozy.
Dude,
I like that one.
Basic campfire can't get it up. Good lord. Except for giving people a clap because they burn so goddamn often. But
I've got so much wood.
yeah, I'm sure you do.
I guess you could say you give him a burning
Why
sensation.
am I the only one laughing at these jokes?
Because you're encouraging to.
Sir, but all right. To be fair, I really do think that the guild does have some potential. I do think that obviously with any sort of merger, there's a danger of drama getting out of hand. But
It depends on what their focus is. If they're merging for a focus for an actual reason, or if they're just merging for end of the expansion activity numbers. It really depends on whether or not it's going to succeed. Because you have to come together for a reason, or else the glue's not going to stick.
I don't know. I feel like they can be known for dodging war games for Project Mayhem. That can be their thing. We can constantly ask them about that war game, and they can continue that fine tradition of knock. And that's how we'll know about them.
But now they can dodge in a more ordered fashion, at least.
Nice.
At the stairs. Blue flag. Or they can't blue flag out there. Maybe in Alliance land somewhere they can blue flag.
So what,
Next question?
Yeah, we need a new question.
Yeah, we definitely do need a new question.
In the event of a fire, what steps would you guys take? I'd take really fucking big ones.
God fucking damn it. God damn it.
Oh, God.
Why the fuck are we encouraging this bullshit?
I had a burning question. Jesus. Flamer.
My sides.
We did have a question. From Quizit Twitch. What do you think about the new items for World PvP on beta, like the boots that give disengage with no cooldown, and the pally hammer that CC someone for 30 seconds? Those questions are going to be answered next show, which is all going to be about Ashran and World PvP, projected World PvP in WAD. So we're not ignoring those questions. They're just going to be on the next show.
Yes, we are. I haven't even played WAD. I have no idea what the hell to expect.
That's why we have guests that actually do have knowledge, that have played beta, genius.
Well, it would be funnier if I just made shit up.
Zero, I thought you were in beta, you just haven't played it.
No, what? How the fuck would I get beta? That implies that I actually log into the game.
Yeah, no, seriously. You log it. The only person that logs into the game less than you do is fucking Charax.
I don't know, man. I've been playing. I got some rating. I got playing 2s.
Willing, you could get
Hanging
geared
out.
faster than you do.
Yeah.
Next question is, why haven't we got any truth, #truth, from Vesker's questions? Well,
I think it's because we're still waiting for #bruised ego to heal before truly trying to get to the #truth.
Yeah, he's kind of laying low right now, which I can understand. I would too. I did.
I mean, the fact that didn't he get kicked from Alcaz as well, or am I not remembering that right?
Alka's kind of crumbled. I don't think anybody got kicked. It just kind of fell apart.
Yeah, and honestly, it really comes to Vesker and his truth thing. I really think it's kind of like that 16-year-old boy that has, talks the big game, and then he finally gets the girl naked, and she's, coming on to him, and then he gets stage fright, and things go limp. I really think that this is that's kind of an example of what happened to Vesker and his truth. All things considered, I think that he has a lot of truth potential, but he needs some time, and he needs someone to gently coax him along. A gentle hand, if you will.
All right, there's a new question from Brutal Hail Master. Why does everyone call PvE players scum? Well, I'm going to go down a little bit of memory lane here. Back before you could OQ yourself to victory or use cross-realm bullshit, you actually had to do raiding with guilds on the server. And Emerald Dream has never had decent PvE progression in any capacity. Any guild that got anywhere near, not even competitive levels, but just enough to be, noticed, they'd instantly crumble apart because of some kind of stupid loot drama. So there is a curse for Emerald Dream regarding PvE. Emerald Dream is where PvE goes to die. And that's what you do in PvP. That's why PvE players are scum. Well, on top of that, you guys get inflated stat boosts and not having to go into instances, and you can sit there and auto-attack yourself to victory. So you can go fuck yourselves with that, too.
That seems kind of unfair. They're scummy because they're cursed.
Well, because they're assholes. I mean, they're learning. It's like they're learning the dance, and that's not really learning to play. That's more of, hey, don't stand on the volcano here. Now, don't go stand on the volcano here.
Hey, I like PvE.
I mean, I PvE'd for a long time, but I definitely think the servers definitely has its own, its own hierarchy, and I don't think PvE is one of them. I just think that's something that's unique to the server.
It's kind of lean. I think people...
PvE has its place on the totem pole of importance, and it's, in the fire pit, burning. In front of the totem pole.
I think it's the only thing keeping him afloat.
Let's not. Does not tempt him.
Well, whatever. I could give 2 fucks with me. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the last time raiding was actually hard was fucking Black Temple. Ever since, I'm sorry, Sunwell. Sunwell was the last time raiding was actually hard. Ever since then, Blizzard decided that they're going to cater to the lowest common denominator, and anybody who tries to claim they're a PvEer is simply admitting that they have downs, and they need to have their hand held by Blizzard, and they benefit from whenever Blizzard decides to dumb down the content to the point where you get a 40% retard buff. And look what we have now. We have looking for retards.
Hey, Seer?
What?
You made?
I think we need to put up a disclaimer sign saying, please do not feed the Zir.
You made. I think you made. Here's actually a really interesting question. For an RP server, and this is from Maximus Orc, for an RP server, why do we have so many, I guess it's so many, it's supposed to be so many, Alliance faction changing to Horde, and how will you prevent this from happening as a community?
We can't.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, we can sit there and shame people into doing it. The problem, though, is that there are too many people who actually feel the need to make people feel good about their life choices, and will simply allow people to do that back and forth. Now, I can talk about my faction change. I thought I was going to play Priest as a dwarf. I didn't, so I kind of I originally started off as a troll because I'm fucking awesome, and everybody else who doesn't start as a troll priest has serious life issues they need to work out on their own that I can't help them with. But just putting it out there, you might want to talk to a therapist. Anyway, so I transferred him over to Alliance, realized that I hated it, and I just let him rot there because I didn't feel like rewarding Blizzard with an extra $30 for my mistake. Until I, found a scratch-off ticket that actually had about $20 on it, so I decided to pay for my mistake and return him back to his troll roots.
Okay.
So there you go.
I think that the way that the community deals with it isn't necessarily by shaming players that do it, because you're going to have players that are going to transfer. You're going to have players that want to be on the winning side. Look at fucking Warsong Battalion. It's always going to attract the low-life retards that are going to want to win at all costs and spam their AoEs because that's real PvP. And
Having no
there's nothing.
pride.
Have you no pride? There's nothing we can do about it. I think that the only thing that we can do is when one side does become lopsided, that a couple people who enjoyed being the underdog can switch and help rally the troops on the other side and kind of help balance it that way.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I feel like for every person that transfers because they want to be on the winning side, there's another demographic on the flip side who are willing to transfer the opposite direction just for the sake of balance. And I think ED has done a really good job of that so far. Just kind of self-controlling itself, or self-regulating itself.
I would not call it about looking for balance. I would say it's people looking to beat up on the idiots. I mean, there's one
always
thing
idiots on both sides.
Yeah, but there is a magical feeling when you 1v3 people, and they're all level capped, and everything goes perfectly because they don't know how to properly roll their CC, or they all decide to go hit on the bear druid who is jumping up and down and not trying to get around on him. Seeing stupid things like that happen, it's magical, and I could definitely see why people want to jump to the losing team in order to capitalize on that kind of thing. But that's just me.
Yeah, but which team is losing? How do you really make that call?
Alliance.
Biased.
Well, no, it's not that it's biased. It's true. I mean, right now, if you looked at the overall story arc for how WoW is going, the Alliance has gotten the shitter end of the story arc. I mean, we got...
Yeah, they have.
Wrath of the Lich King, they lost Bolvar. I mean, sure, they get to have his ass sitting on the frozen throne, but the last time
there must always be a Lich King!
He's making gin and tonics up there and just hanging out, and then they get Darian Wren back. Woo, big fucking deal. Cataclysm comes along. They're still trying to build goddamn Stormwind, and Thrall becomes Superman and has baby, I think. And Mists, Garage fucks things up. Varian has the opportunity to actually do something, and he decides to do nothing. I mean, come on, it boils down to it. Horde is pretty much allowed to do whatever the fuck it wants, and Alliance just has to be tugged along at the end because they just have no say in the matter.
I don't feel like Varian did nothing. He invaded the city, for one, and then he...
With the help of the Horde.
And he then stuck his sword into the floor of whatever hole he was in. Woohoo. Good game, guys. You got loot at the end of that. To watch him put his sword in the ground. Maybe the next person to walk up and pulls it out will be named King of Stormwind.
I don't know. I have a different interpretation of it, but I guess that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have an interesting announcement that I just got to end the show with. First of all, thank you guys for watching. We do have about 10 minutes left, and we do really hope you appreciated the show, and we'll continue to watch. Next week we are doing items and World PvP in WoD, and so on and so forth. So we're going to answer all the WoD questions. WoD. So while this has been going on, I got a whisper from Mort, and I asked him if I could talk about this, and he said yes. He said, Ilskane is off the show. She ruins everything she touches.
Ooh. Call out.
So, yep. We have content for 3 more weeks, but after she crumbled to forum drama, I was done. Currently, I'm running it solo. So, on that note, I would like to start a slow clap if you guys can help join me with the slow clap for Mort. All I can say, Mort, man, you actually do have at least my full support, and I'm really glad and happy if this is actually the case that you are kicking Ilskane to the proverbial curb.
Took you long enough.
Yeah, seriously. But if that is what you're truly doing, yeah, fuck that bitch. Get yourself some, boy. So guys, make sure to also watch for Mort's next show. I'm not sure. Obviously, they're probably going to go through some technical difficulties, but so far the last show was on Sunday, so keep an eye out on the forums. We will do our best to also advertise that as well. So, definitely big props on him. What are your guys' thoughts on that? On the fact that the cheerleader is gone.
Out in the cold.
I cannot. Okay,
I don't believe it. She's coming back somehow. Not necessarily on Mort's show, but she's gonna make weasel way back into the culture.
Like we're talking like Freddy and Jason kind of come back, like somehow they magically appear, or are we talking like, you know, I don't know, like is there a plot twist or a Scooby-Doo thing going on? What do you mean by you think she'll come back?
How do you kill that which has no life?
No, she's going to call in on the anonymous call line and try to pretend to be somebody else, and maybe annoyed. That'd be hilarious.
I mean, I really don't think you can impersonate 48-year-old smoker that has no life all that well. Once she calls in, you pretty much pick it out pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, you know, some people tried to pretend to be Crystal from Coat way back in the day on various things. So, I mean, it has happened before. And I just showed off how gray my goddamn ballsack is.
I was about to say, you dated the fuck out of yourself right there, Sparky.
I didn't even know what he referenced to.
But yeah, she's gonna find a way to sneak on there, and my guess is she's gonna pretend to be some person who has vehemently denied the opportunity to speak, and I'm gonna say she's gonna pretend to be annoyed.
Well, possibly, but I do think that I do honestly. I give mad props to Mort for taking the bull by the horns and you know, running solo with the show. That takes balls. I'm sorry. It takes massive balls. Like, we're doing it with 3 people.
You can get some good guests. Some good
4,
co-hosts.
if you count Basic Campfire. 5 if you count our unsung moderator / helper, Legs. So thank you.
She does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have one last question to end the show on. And it looks like it actually comes from Vesker.
Ooh.
What is the average amount of times in each show that my name is mentioned? And I will only address this because he specifically asked, and the answer is 32.
Did you actually count that?
Really? Did you count?
Well, I thought it was actually 25, but I'm just making things up as I go along. So maybe it's 99. I don't know.
Are we talking about the number of times? And I had a joke, but I lost it.
Yeah. Thinking about my dog again, aren't you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Only deniers will deny about my dog. Anyway.
We do appreciate you guys watching. And feel free to comment on the forums about critiques and criticisms that we probably will ignore. But no, we actually do read it, and we do appreciate it.
Make like 5 different threads about us again.
Well, I don't know, you guys. Remember, the last time we listened to you all, we ended up with Basic Campfire. So just think about what you actually have to say about that. So anyway, thank you again for tuning in this evening, and we shall see you all either next week or the next time we bother to post to the forums. So in about 2 minutes.
Yep, about 2 to 3 minutes. Once again, I do want to give a big thank you to all the people that actually have involved themselves with the show and helped it along. So not just the 3 of us, but people like Legs, people like Basic Campfire, and other people that have really actually contributed and spent a significant amount of time just investing in the show and really helping out. And also big thanks to Heltor who was on the show, even though he couldn't be on for as long as he wanted to be. Hey man, we really appreciate you having you. Thank you very much.
This show is definitely a group effort. Like, not just the people who work directly on it, like ourselves and our helpers, but people who participate on the threads and give us things to think about and constructive criticism about what they want to see more of the show, just in terms of direction, not necessarily content. It helps us tremendously.
I don't know. Too much constructive criticism means I'm probably going to not want to pay attention to it and laugh at you about it.
But it's good just to take it in and kind of reflect on it, and even if you don't use it.
Take it in.
What are you talking about? Most people are wrong. We already went over this earlier. There's a reason most people shouldn't be allowed to vote.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you, and good night.
98.